So I'm looking at the college football playoff, trying to make sense of it. And I thought to myself, hey, let me do some data analysis. I'm going to put myself in if I was on the selection committee and try and make sense of it. And so, one thing they talk about is strength of schedule and head-to-head matchups and plays a lot, and that should drive who should be in the college football playoff and who should be high up in the rankings. So I just did an easy win-loss thing. Okay, who's beat who, who's played who, and I focused on the top 20, thinking, all right, that's going to tell us the most games, or the most important stuff is who's played who amongst the top 20, who's won, who's lost, and what are the other losses out there. And so the strength of schedule is one thing to take in, but I just said, hey, the best thing to see is teams playing teams. And one of the ways to do that, it'd be great if every team could play every other team, then we'd know. But hey, let's look at sort of common where each team played each other. And so this is a college football ranking right here. So OSU top, Indiana, and then Georgia, Texas Tech right now, number 4 and put in for OSU. Okay, who have they beaten? Well, they beat Texas. So I gave them 12 points. I basically took 25 minus the ranking. So, hey, if you beat the number one team, you get 24 points. If you beat Texas, you get 12 points because they're the 13th ranked team, right? So they've got a quality win there, and they beat Michigan. But those are the highest ranked teams they've played. They're going to play Indiana next week. That'll tell us something. But they also have no losses. Indiana, all right, they've beaten Oregon, one of the highest quality wins out there, beating number 5 team. And then they beat Iowa, number 23 team. So that's one of the reasons their strengths of schedules aren't super strong. They haven't played a lot of high-end teams. Georgia, quality win over Ole Miss. They've lost to Alabama, beaten Texas, beaten Georgia Tech, right? Now, there's some teams like Texas Tech. All right, Texas Tech, pretty weak strength of schedule. And these are all from ESPN's ranking, their power ranking strength of schedules. So they've lost to Arizona State, team not even ranked in the top 25. So we'll give them negative 25 points for that one. So you can see how I did that. Let's just look at a team like Texas. So Texas lost to OSU, -1, lost to Georgia, the number 3 team, -3, right? They beat Texas A&M, the number 7th ranked team. They beat OU, the number 8th ranked team. They've beat Vanderbilt, the number 11th ranked team, and they lost to Florida. Hey, give them -25. Shouldn't have done that. Team like Miami, all right, they've beaten Notre Dame, the 10th ranked team, but they've lost to Louisville and SMU, both outside the top 25. Alabama's lost to Florida State outside the top 25. Texas Tech lost to Arizona State outside the top 25. They're ranked number 4. So losing outside the top 25 clearly isn't just a reason for people to get rid of and not be in the top 12. Um, so it seems like it's sort of an entire body of work. But anyway, so that's what I went through. I added these numbers up and let's see what came up with. So this is the sum total of everything. I'm going to go from largest to smallest, the most positive points. And here's who's sitting on top. Georgia beat Ole Miss, lost to Alabama, but they beaten Texas and Georgia Tech. All right, some good quality wins. Indiana's up there. Ole Miss is up there. OSU, Ohio State's up there. And then really interesting, hey, the number 5 team, Texas, right? 17 points when I add all this together. Why? Because they've lost to the top 2 of the top 3 teams in the country. Okay, probably expected. But they've beaten the 7th and 8th team. And then Vanderbilt was number 14. So pretty clearly, Texas is priced somewhere in between here. All right. Now they threw in a clunker against Florida, but oh wait, Arizona State, Texas Tech did also. And right now they're ranked number 4. Yet who have they beaten? Well, they beat BYU at number 11, right? And who's BYU beaten? Well, they've lost to Texas Tech and they beat Utah and Arizona. So 15th and 18th team. So a little bit incestuous in there. But anyway, that's where I get to is like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Texas for me would be probably the fifth ranked team, and you can see some of these other teams definitely in the top 12. Alabama's beaten Georgia, no doubt. They lost to OU. They beat Vanderbilt, and they lost to Florida State. So got a really high quality win here. We'll see what happens there. Notre Dame's an interesting case. Hey, why is Notre Dame so low? Well, Notre Dame's played Texas A&M. They lost to them, number 17. They lost to Miami, 12th ranked team. Their win is over USC, and that's it. So you kind of see what happens and why the strength of schedule is so can be really impactful. You know, Notre Dame's strength of schedule is 42. It's a lot lower than a lot of the other teams. Now, this number I found interesting too. I said, okay, well, who's played the most top 15 games? And actually, I looked at the top 15 games. And it's Texas. So we actually know the most about Texas. They've got played 5 top 15 games and they have 3 top 15 wins. Now, here's some teams who have played top 15 games and not won any of them. USC, Notre Dame, Utah, Vanderbilt, Michigan. All right. So you've got a group of teams here that have played top 15 games and lost those. Hey, I take a team that's beaten 3 top 15 teams. To me, that's a much stronger team than another. So here's my ranking. Here's why what I would think would be the rankings going in there. Right here. And I think a real great question to ask yourself, hey, if they're like 5 teams you don't want to have to play going into the playoff or your team doesn't want to play, yeah, Georgia's probably up there, OSU's up there. My guess is Texas is probably up there. That is not a team you would want to run into right now. And if that's true, they should be in the playoff.